Today is Wednesday, September 10th, 2025, and this is Read Through the Bible.
Yeah, we just finished yesterday the book of Judges.
Right.
And we put out a special recap edition in the afternoon.
Right, so yesterday had 2 episodes.
Mm-hmm. And so today we begin the book of Ruth.
That's right.
Which is appropriate in the canon to be placed right here, right after the book of Judges, because of the way the book begins.
Yep, Judges 1:1 says, in the days when the judges ruled...
Yep, so we don't know. Yeah, we don't know whether this was early in the book of Judges or late in the book of Judges.
Right, and that's like a 400-year span,
Yep.
So it's somewhere in there.
But we do see in the book of Ruth some godly people.
Right.
We see Naomi is a godly woman, and Ruth is a godly woman, and Boaz is a godly man.
That's right. It's a breath of fresh air in the midst of a very depraved time period.
Yeah, and it helps to remind us that, yes, even though things were so depraved, everyone was doing what was right in their own eyes, there were some people who were walking in the fear of the Lord and walking rightly. Mm-hmm. Okay, so Ruth is really a love story. It's a love story of a woman needing someone to love her and help her and redeem her, and Boaz comes and redeems Ruth.
Mm-hmm. But it starts off very, very difficult, very sad. So
it's very sad.
Okay, Ruth 1:1. In the days when the judges ruled, there was a famine in the land, and a man of Bethlehem in Judah went to sojourn in the country of Moab, he and his wife and his 2 sons. The name of the man was Elimelech, and the name of his wife Naomi, and the names of his 2 sons were Mahlon and Chilion. They were Ephrathites from Bethlehem in Judah. Okay, so that's the tribe they were from, Judah, and the city was Bethlehem.
Right, the house of bread. So it's pretty ironic here that in the house of bread there was no bread.
Famine.
There was a famine. Yeah, and the famine in those days meant despair. So it was very hard for them.
Right, and people often went to another country when there was a famine, like Abraham did.
That's right, because there's no famine in Moab.
Yeah. So they went into the country of Moab and remained there. But Elimelech, the husband of Naomi, died, and she was left with her 2 sons. These took Moabite wives. The name of the one was Orpah, and the name of the other, Ruth. They lived there about 10 years, and both Mahlon and Chilion died, so that the woman was left without her 2 sons and her husband.
Starts off very sorrowful.
Yeah, so they left their home because of a famine, and then they go there, and Naomi loses her husband and 2 sons.
Yeah, and significant here is that Naomi's in Moabite territory, and so that her sons took Moabite wives. So it's this Israelite woman with 2 Moabite daughters-in-law. And then, verse 6, she arose with her daughters-in-law to return from the country of Moab, for she had heard in the fields of Moab that the Lord had visited his people and given them food. So she's going to go back home. So she set out from the place where she was with her 2 daughters-in-law, and they went on the way to return to the land of Judah. But Naomi said to her 2 daughters-in-law, "Go, return each of you to her mother's house. May the Lord deal kindly with you as you have dealt with the dead and with me. The Lord grant that you may find rest, each of you, in the house of her husband." And then she kissed them, and they lifted up their voices and wept. And they said to her, "No, we will return with you back to your people." But Naomi said, "Turn back, my daughters. Why will you go with me? Have I yet sons in my womb, that they may become your husbands? Turn back, my daughters. Go your way, for I am too old to have a husband. If I should say, 'I have hope,' even if I should have a husband this night, should bear sons, would you therefore wait until they were grown? Would you therefore refrain from marrying? No, my daughters, for it is exceedingly bitter to me for your sake that the hand of the Lord has gone out against me." Then they lifted up their voices and wept again, and Orpah kissed her mother-in-law, but Ruth clung to her. And here we see Ruth coming with one of the most famous verses in all of Ruth is coming up here in this next section.
Yeah, and you just see Naomi and how empty and bitter and sad she is. Verse 15, and she said, "See, your sister-in-law has gone back to her people and to her gods. Return after your sister-in-law." But Ruth said, "Do not urge me to leave you or return from following you. For where you go, I will go, and where you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God, my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. May the Lord do so to me, and more also, if anything but death parts me from you. And when Naomi saw that she was determined to go with her, she said no more.
Yeah, and I think that Ruth saw in Naomi something of the true God. And she was in Moab with the idols and the idolatry of that, but saw of the only true God. And she said, no, I'm going to be with you, and your people shall be my people, and your God shall be my God. Basically pledging to follow Yahweh the Lord.
Yeah, like convert to follow the Lord.
Yep. So the two of them, that is Ruth and Naomi, went on until they came to Bethlehem. And so this was after some time. They left Bethlehem in a famine, now they're coming back.
At least 10 years.
Food. Yep.
1:4 says that.
And when they came to Bethlehem, the whole town was stirred because of them. And the women said, is this Naomi? And she said to them, do not call me Naomi, which if you look in your ESV subnote means pleasant, but call me Mara, which means bitter. For the Almighty has dealt very bitterly with me. I went away full, and the Lord has brought me back empty.
Except for Ruth.
Which actually comes about in chapter 4. We're going to see how full she is, that she has come back with Ruth. She doesn't even know of how good it is that Ruth has come. And by the way, she says, call me Mara, which is bitter. She said that in verse 13. No, my daughters, it's exceedingly bitter to me for your sake. So anyway, I went away full, the Lord's brought me back empty. Why call me Naomi when the Lord has testified against me and the Almighty has brought calamity upon me?
Verse 22, so Naomi returned, and Ruth the Moabite, her daughter-in-law, with her, who returned from the country of Moab. And they came to Bethlehem at the beginning of barley harvest.
Yep, it's kind of like the beginning of the harvest. There's hope, is what that is.
Yep.
So in terms of a summary, there's a famine. So Naomi and her husband go to Moab, where their sons.
I have 3 sons, or 3 men die. Orpah stays. Ruth and Naomi go back.
Okay. Yep. Beautiful.
Like that.
That's really good. I got after the death of their husbands, Naomi and Ruth returned from Moab to Bethlehem.
Okay.
Yep. So similar. Okay. Chapter 2.
Okay. Now Naomi had a relative of her husband's, a worthy man of the clan of Elimelech, whose name was Boaz. And Ruth the Moabite said to Naomi, let me go to the field and glean among the ears of grain, after him in whose sight I shall find favor. And she said to her, go, my daughter. So she set out and went and gleaned in the field after the reapers. And just a pause there, that goes along with, I think it's Deuteronomy 24.
Yeah, I got
have a
Deuteronomy
note
24,
of that.
verse 19 through 22. So this is where reading all those laws sort of comes to help. That the deal is that those who have fields are supposed to just sort of reap the fields, but if they leave behind some sheaves,
Yeah, if they don't get everything, that's okay.
Intentionally leave it behind as a welfare system for the poor to be able to pick it up and have some grain for themselves if they go out and work and pick it up.
Right. So Ruth and Naomi know about that, and so that's what they want to do. So verse 3, so she set out and went and gleaned in the field after the reapers. And she had come to the part of the field belonging to Boaz, who was of the clan of Elimelech. So he's a relative. And behold, Boaz came from Bethlehem, and he said to the reapers, the Lord be with you. And they answered, the Lord bless you. Then Boaz said to his young man who was in charge of the reapers, whose young woman is this? And the servant, who was in charge of the reapers, answered, she is the young Moabite woman who came back with Naomi from the country of Moab. She said, please let me glean and gather among the sheaves after the reapers. So she came, and has continued from early morning until now, except for a short rest.
So Boaz kind of taking note of this woman, Ruth.
He noticed there's someone new in his field.
Yeah, because he would have noticed all the other women who came and would have recognized them, but didn't recognize this one. Then Boaz said to Ruth, now listen, my daughter, do not go to glean in another field or leave this one, but keep close to my young women. Let your eyes be on the field that they are reaping and go after them. Have I not charged the young men not to touch you? And when you are thirsty, go to the vessels and drink what the young men have drawn. Then she fell on her face, bowing to the ground, and said to him, why have I found favor in your eyes that you should take notice of me, since I am a foreigner? But Boaz answered her, all that you have done for your mother-in-law since the death of your husband has been fully told to me, and how you left your father and mother and your native land and come to a people that you did not know before. The Lord repay you for what you have done, and a full reward be given you by the Lord, the God of Israel, under whose wings you have come to take refuge. It's like small town dynamics that when Naomi comes back, they know her name. Is it not Naomi? And the scuttlebutt around the town would have talked all about how Ruth said, no, your people will be my people and your God will be my God. I'm going to come and stay with you and serve you and help you in your old age.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting also, like as she said back in 1:16 about your God shall be my God, like Boaz kind of references that here too. It says that she has sought refuge under the wings of the God of Israel.
Mm-hmm. And then we'll come up again. So just keep that there. Okay, and then she said, I have found favor in your eyes, my Lord, for you have comforted me and spoken kindly to your servant, though I am not one of your servants.
Verse 14, and at mealtime Boaz said to her, come here and eat some bread and dip your morsel in the wine. So she sat beside the reapers, and he passed to her roasted grain. And she ate until she was satisfied, and she had some left over. When she rose to glean, Boaz instructed his young men, saying, let her glean even among the sheaves, and do not reproach her. And also pull out some from the bundles for her, and leave it for her to glean, and do not rebuke her.
Yeah, super kind to her. Like she could even take from the sheaves. She didn't have to leave the gleanings from the field. She could just kind of take from the bushels. So this super kind to Ruth is Boaz. So she gleaned in the field until evening, and then she beat out what she had gleaned, and it was about an ephah of barley. I don't know how big that is. Well, I mean, it obviously says
about 3/5 of a bushel, or 22 liters.
Yeah, so I don't even know what that means of having all this grain. But anyway.
I think it's a lot.
Yeah, and she took it up and went to the city. Her mother-in-law saw that she had gleaned. She also brought out and gave her what food she had left over from being satisfied. And her mother-in-law said to her, where did you glean today? And where have you worked? Blessed be the man who took notice of you. She doesn't even know who it is, but blessed is that man. And then she told her mother-in-law with whom she had worked and said, and this is very dramatic, the man's name with whom I work today is Boaz. And Naomi said to her daughter-in-law, may he be blessed by the Lord whose kindness has not forsaken the living or the dead. Naomi also said to her, the man is a close relative of ours, one of our redeemers. And this is one of the key concepts just we saw in the book of Judges. We saw that they were little saviors. Here we see the idea of a redeemer. That is one who purchases someone back.
Yeah, this word's going to come up a lot more.
Yep, and this then alludes to how we need a redeemer as well. Jesus becomes our redeemer, the one who buys us back from our sins. And Ruth the Moabite said, besides, he said to me, you shall keep close by my young men until they have finished all my harvest. And Naomi said to Ruth, her daughter-in-law, it is good, my daughter, that you go out with his young women, lest in another field you be assaulted. It kind of showed how dangerous it was for women to be working then, and how kind Boaz was to protect her. So she kept close to the young women of Boaz, gleaning until the end of the barley and wheat harvests, and she lived with her mother-in-law. Okay, so I've got, in terms of a summary, Ruth gleans from Boaz's field, and Boaz takes notice of her.
Okay, I have the same first part, and then I have special protection and provision.
Okay, that's great, because that's what Boaz did. Okay, we will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.